Morning Scramble is presented by Wildlife World Zoo and Aquarium.
So when God said, all right, so now I have the man and the woman has to go through this childbirth thing, we really better even things up a little bit. And as close as he could come is kidney stones. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. And Dr. Mark Hong, you know what I'm talking about. Dr. Hong, a urologist with what an academic background. Rice, Stanford, Harvard. As a urologist with these kinds of academic credentials, will you help me prevent my kidney stones? And theirs too.
Absolutely, Pat. I mean, first of all, I know a lot of things. I don't actually know the pain of childbirth, but I can tell you that the pain of kidney stones is described to me as worse than that of childbirth.
Even by some women who have had children.
Correct, right, and they would know. So ultimately, we want to try to prevent these things as best as possible.
Help us.
Yes, absolutely. Well, as you know, this is the summer of season of peaches and the Olympics, and of course, here in the Valley, it's kidney stones. That's kind of, we get a run on kidney stones over the summer.
Peaches, the Olympics, and kidney stones. I'll take the first two, thank you,
Yes.
okay? So is there a fairly consistent preventative measure that I can take?
Yeah, the single biggest cause of kidney stones, and therefore the single preventable thing that you can do, is to drink plenty of water. Now, how much is enough? Because some people go out and they drown themselves. Some people drink one bottle and they think that they're drowning themselves. So I brought along some props for us.
Well, the graph is the first prop because
sure.
we're just taking a look right now at what it is that we're talking about the location of these things.
Right. So the big deal about kidney stones is that the kidney stones actually block up the kidney, and that's what causes the kidney to swell up, and then that's what causes you pain, nausea, fevers, the things that you can have that really kind of mess you up.
So when the kidney stone, though, develops, the problem that men and women have is when it gets lodged?
Yeah, that's right. So first of all, kidney stones develop when the urine itself within the kidney becomes very saturated. It's kind of like if you go camping and you see a mountain stream that's nice and clear and nothing's forming there, but that cesspool at the bottom of the mountain, that's full of junk, and that's kind of how kidney stones form.
I'm not the doctor here, but I will tell you on a personal basis, the subject for today's conversation is how to get rid of a jagged golf ball going through your penis. Did I get your attention? That's pretty much what we're talking about. When a urologist was here, I don't know, a year and a half ago, he came in and had a display in lucite of these jagged things. And I said to him, how much smaller in real life are these? He says, no, these are the real size ones that we're talking about.
Right.
I thought that they had just been expanded to create a display.
Yeah, well, kidney stones can range in size. Usually they're not golf ball size. I pity the guy that had to pass those. But having said that, stones that are very small can actually cause a lot of blockage. Other people seem to pass larger stones. In general, stones tend to be less than a centimeter, which is really not that big, but actually they cause a lot of pain as they pass.
Yes, and so when you're talking about passing them, is that the most common way of dispelling a kidney stone?
Usually the kidney stone chooses you, meaning that you suddenly wake up at inopportune times. You might be driving, you might be sleeping, and then you get horrible pain, and that usually brings people to the ER where they see me.
I think my problem is that with all of the liquid that I ingest during the day, at least that I'm aware of, I may take in one of these.
Yeah, and this is the issue is, you know, especially during the summer, especially in Phoenix, we forget that we're actually losing more water to sweat and other things than normally. And really one is not enough. It's not even close to being enough. We have to drink at least probably about 5 of these just to maintain a certain bathing our kidney in a certain amount of fluid to make sure we don't form kidney stones.
Does that include iced tea, coffee, martinis?
Yeah, we want to be a little bit careful. Of that list, I would actually say that the iced tea is worse than the martini.
Oh, tell me
as far as
why.
kidney stones are concerned.
Yeah, tell me why.
Because the problem with coffees and teas is that they can contain certain compounds. For example, a lot of teas contain oxalate. Oxalate is one of the components of the most common kind of kidney stone, which is a calcium oxalate stone. There are many different kinds of stones, but for our purposes, we want to try to avoid excessive amounts of tea and some of these other compounds.
How many kidney stones on a percentile basis are passed naturally as opposed to retrieved?
Well, you know, first of all, about 1 in 10 Americans suffers from kidney stones, and it depends on the size and the location of the stones. In general, stones that are about 5 millimeters or half a centimeter and less tend to pass on their own. There are exceptions. And
Is that the size of a pencil eraser?
Yes, I would say a pencil eraser, it's a bit smaller than a pencil eraser, but that's about a rough rule.
Okay, but sometimes you have to go in with surgery. But then there's this lithotripsy thing.
Correct. So we have great methods of dealing with these kidney stones. In fact,
What is that, by the way?
well, lithotripsy itself just means we're breaking up stones, but we have many tools at our disposal, and I can pretty much guarantee that I can get you stone-free, but it matters in terms of how invasive we are. So for example, this lithotripsy procedure is called an ESWL, extracorporeal shockwave lithotripsy. Say that 5 times fast. And so that's why we just say ESWL. And this shocks the stone from the outside. It uses ultrasound waves, and that's our least invasive way of dealing with these things.
The name of the organization, Affiliated Urologists. You're making notes, aren't you? We got your attention. Dr. Mark Hong, board-certified urologist, and his office is on North 2nd Street. This is Pat McMahon. This is the Morning Scramble. Here, please, have one on me.